Hello, everybody. How you doing today? Well, you'd have to put it in the chat. Um, and YouTube live chat is set for replay once again. How come I'm not getting the live chat replay, YouTube? So far, no audio. So I'll try this again. Oh, there we go. Always takes me 2 times. Do you have that problem, people? All right. I'm going to read at least the majority of this article from Anna. Although I'm leaving out the first paragraph or two where she talks about after 40 some years, her efforts have not been without support, and that people are finally listening. And it's like she's giving herself credit. Well, I give her credit for a pretty darn good article here. Yet there's at least one thing in here that I gotta caution you folks on with regards to her advice. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna run through this, and I'll talk about a couple of things. And so the Universal Postal Union and the U.S. government have been listening. Oh, here I left it in, and tightening up their operations to prevent mail fraud by foreign incorporated tribunals operating as municipal courts and by various agencies such as the IRS, which habitually misaddresses Americans as municipal franchises using the U.S. mail. Now, this gets you the deer in the headlight look when you try and explain this to people that have not been red pilled. This is why I'm asking for some talkers to come to Kalkaska. For me to be the only talker, I get the deer in the headlight look. And then we get the stupidity, and there's nobody there to raise a voice. So some of you people that will stand, you either need to learn to talk, or we got to get some other talkers here. For those that are willing to stand as a witness, stand as a voice, stand as a sovereign and own their authority. The U.S. government has recently updated the ante for mail fraud, 18 USC 1341, and misuse of fictitious names, 18 USC 1342. The potential fine per occurrence has increased from $250,000 to $1 million, and the jail time possible has increased from a maximum of 10 years to a maximum of 30 years. I have not verified this. I trust that that's true. So that would indicate current laws. This increase by 4 times in the amount of fines and 3 times in the amount of potential jail time should be sufficient to convince those who have been using dog Latin to mischaracterize and entrap the average American to cease and desist. No, this doesn't. You see, these people don't care. And they have been getting away with this for so long. I mean, for generations, in a massive, massive fraud on the people. Then, after the third bankruptcy in 1999, operating as rogue. British, maritime flag, private member associations. From our perspective, it is a good thing to put more teeth into the prohibitions already existing. The teeth aren't anything without forcement. You got to have forcement. And I think this is where the military is going to come in. To quickly summarize, when a clueless American receives a tax bill or a court summons delivered by the Postal Service, and which is addressed to their name appearing in all capital letters, e.g., all caps Jane A. Doe, and that American is not knowingly and in fact operating a commercial corporation in their name, a mail fraud has occurred, as well as a crime of misuse of fictitious names to entrap. So what she's saying there is, if you have not formed a company with your name, which would be a dead entity, which would be all capital letters, then what they're doing is they're putting this fictitious name, and it's mail fraud when it's put through the mail. It's fraud, it's constructive fraud, it's mail fraud. The object of this fraud is to allow the municipal court or the IRS or other bill collector to presume that the targeted American is a municipal citizen of the United States. The United States, a corporation, a British corporation. This is where you get that deer in the headlight look. It's why some talkers are so important to help educate the people so they will stop being useful idiots to these demonic fucks. When the unsuspecting American opens this mail because it appears to be addressed to him or her, they unknowingly confess to being and or operating as the addressee, which is in fact a United States corporation and not a living person at all. When they respond to such misaddressed summons, federal tax bill, or other correspondence, they have already unknowingly admitted guilt under the terms of the 14th Amendment to the British Territorial Constitution, or otherwise may be accused of tampering with mail not addressed to them. Again, more fraud. That Constitution doesn't apply to you unless you give up your rights. And you can give up your rights and you can be a slave. You have not been educated by the public education system. You have not been properly educated by the public education system. You have not been properly educated by your mommy and your pappy, your grandma and your grandpa, your auntie and your uncle, your college professors, your politicians, or the mainstream media. All right, now, a further reminder to everyone. Certified mail is intended to be mail between two government offices or offices of the government and should not be used by private persons when corresponding with government offices or officers. That's interesting. Certified mail is domestic use only. I've talked about that. The pink card has a dotted line where you would make your mark. Even though it says signature, put an autograph there. When you find a need to correspond with government office or departments such as State of Wyoming Department of Fish and Game, use a normal first class stamp. Use a stamp that is not a United States Postal Service stamp, not a forever stamp, a gold back stamp. Actually, why even put a fucking stamp on there at all? First class mail, postage paid, own your authority. Like this. From Humana. First class mail, U.S. postage paid. And it's in a box. By the Styles Manual, that ain't even on the page. Everybody's doing it except you. And all caps name. How many times I got to tell the people at the post office? But to see, they're supposed to be prosecuting 30 years, $1 million. Who the fuck's getting prosecuted by the post? The post office employees are fucking in on this shit. Because I think they're too fucking stupid to know the fucking difference. So they follow unlawful orders. And because the United States is rogue, the United States Postal Service is rogue, and it's all fucking demonically run, it's up to you, people. It's up to you. We live in a complex world. It is, for example, possible that you would be running a corporation named after yourself. So it is not a crime in and of itself for an agency like the IRS or municipal court to address mail to such a corporation if it indeed exists and you are conscious of running it. But if you don't, it's a crime. 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 Humana. Secretary of State, your driver's license, your passport, your utility bills. The problem comes about when you have been unknowingly registered as a baby, as a foreign citizen, specifically as a British territorial U.S. citizen, and that citizen's estate has been seized upon, declared legally dead, and incorporated. This results in a U.S. corporation operating in maritime jurisdiction under your name without your knowledge or consent. You see? You see what these attorneys have done? These bar card carrying American treasonous fucks. All these judges, all these sheriff's departments, your state police, your municipal police. This in turn creates the convenient opportunity to mistake you, a living American, for a foreign corporate franchise operator, and gives them an excuse to subject you to commercial law. Fraud, human trafficking, enslavement. Wrong. They have no fucking right. Wake the fuck up, people. Why else would you open mail addressed to a corporation operating in your name? Answer: because you were purposefully never made aware of the existence of any such corporation. I'm going to read that again. Because you were purposefully never made aware of the existence of any such corporation, nor of the style conventions defining the use of all capital letters representing a given name. According to the Bar Association's own style guide, a name appearing in all capital letters can only represent a dead corporation or a dead man's estate. According to the Chicago Manual of Style, published in 1906, a name in all capital letters is an American sign language, in essence, a form of trademark. I don't know what guru was pushing trademarking your name. I think there was a couple of them. Fucking the fuckery that goes on. Here we go. You have never been taught any of this in school, nor had cause to know it. Bullshit. Everybody had cause to know this, Anna. All the millions of Americans that have been prosecuted, they all had cause to know it, Anna. You have never been taught any of this in school, nor had cause to know it. And so those better educated and owing you good faith and service have used your ignorance to entrap you and to gain legal presumptions against you via their use of the Postal Service. They made you party to court actions that don't concern you, have subjected you to foreign law under false pretenses, have illegally confiscated your property, issued false warrants and impoundment orders based on this scheme, and jailed millions of Americans who were completely innocent. And they have used the Postal Service to cross jurisdictional boundaries and deliver all this criminal racketeering activity to your doorstep. The Postal Service has in turn put their foot down and guaranteed to prosecute the perpetrators of this mispersonation scheme to the tune of $1 million fine per occurrence and up to 30 years in jail. I have to go count how many mailings I got from Humana here. Per occurrence. I don't see the Postal Service putting their foot down. Do you? No, I see them putting their foot on your neck, denying you your postage paid registered mail that contracts you as sovereign. Then she says, please inform any and all municipal courts operating in your area and all IRS offices and agents that you may have cause to interact with, as well as any department or agency that misaddresses you using a name in all capital letters. Well, the system has to be taken down, people. These demonic fucks have got to be put out of business. And these people, you educate them and they continue to do the wrong thing. Well, that's their choice. They're going to pay. This is, unless, of course, you are actually using your given name as a trademark in business or as the name of a corporation that you are running. We want to underline this possibility for you as an explanation of why the Postal Service hasn't simply outlawed the use of all capital letter name to address correspondence. Every corporation that I have formed or limited liability company is Inc. Incorporated or LLC. That's part of the name. So this bullshit. This bullshit. Ever since someone decided to name a corporation after themselves, and there have been plenty of instances of this, there has been a legitimate possibility that a living man or corporation could share the same name, except that the legal name of the corporation would appear in all capital letters. Ever since someone hung a shingle on a storefront using their name as a trademark, at least in America and under the American Sign Language Conventions, the legal name of that business might appear in all capital letters. So the Postal Service has been unable to stop the great fraud perpetrated against living people in general, because it is possible that you might be operating under such a trademark or using your name as that of a corporation, and the Postal Service has had no way of knowing either way. Well, Anna, the Postal Service has a way of knowing that these are all British run, British operated, British fuckery, every one of them, including the United States Postal Service. That's why the United States Postal Service don't do shit, because the United States Postal Service is British operated, British run, British fuckery, denying you your postage paid service, Americans. You have now been advised how to respond to such mail in general, and you can judge your own circumstances as you use your given name. Wait a minute. It seems like I missed over something, because I swear I read in here that to send it back, and maybe I just haven't read it yet. You've now been advised on how to respond to such mail in general. You can judge your own circumstances as to use of your given name. Do you use your given name styled in all capital letters as a trademark in business? Yes or no? Do you use your given name as a name of a registered corporation? Yes or no? Most of us can answer no to both these questions and are fully justified in refusing any mail misaddressed to us in all capital letters. We are all also justified in bringing charges against the senders for violating 18 USC 1341 and 1342. Now, some people will advise you to put return to sender on this and send it back. I say bullshit. You put it in the copy machine, you make a copy of it. You mark this as evidence. You mark this as evidence and you keep it. You shove the fucking copy up their ass right along with Executive Order 13818. Now, you want the right to travel? You want the right to carry? Why don't you own your authority? Why don't you assassinate your strawman? I did 7 videos on assassinating the strawman. I assassinated the strawman. I assassinated the strawman. I assassinated the strawman. I mean, people are going to just own your authority. Print off a couple simple pieces of paper. Get your poop in a group. Get a couple people to stand with you and go hold these parasites to account. Any questions? Get 3 thumbs up, nobody here. It's funny. All right, everybody. I'll be back. Fuck these British invaders.